Gökberk Yıldırım's big love surprise. Did he really walk away from Cemre Arda for a stunning co-star? You're watching Secrets Behind the Stars, the place where the whispers don't just echo, they make the ground shake. Before we dive into tonight's story, show your support by subscribing and turning on notifications so you never miss the latest twists behind the glam. Now, let's get to it, because what started as a quiet spark on the set of Sandokan has roared into a full-blown storm. Gökberk Yıldırım's private life has always fascinated fans, but this time the wave feels bigger, heavier, harder to ignore. It isn't just about a breakup. It's about proximity, chemistry, and choices made under the hot lights of a major production. For weeks, even months, the question hovered in the corners of social media. Is something happening between Gökberk Yıldırım and Alanah? Each time the topic faded, a new whisper pushed it back to the surface. And then, without explanation, came the pivot that got everyone talking, the abrupt end to his relationship with Cemre Arda. No statement, no carefully staged explanation. Just a quiet unfollow, shared photos quietly vanishing, the smooth erasure of a timeline that once felt solid. Those who know Cemre say she was blindsided. She's known for loyalty and a grounded heart, the kind of partner who celebrates in the shadows, who supports without needing a spotlight. Yet in recent months, even she struggled to understand what was shifting. Short replies, late answers, a restless edge around him that didn't match the demands of the job. He said it was training, rehearsals running late, extra time needed on choreography. Maybe. But the pieces didn't quite click, not until a few glimpses from the Sandokan set in Italy and Malaysia brought everything into focus. When Alanah joined the production, headlines called it a powerful addition to a massive project. On set, people used different words like electricity and gravitational pull. She walks in with ease, her craft sharp, her presence undeniable. Crew members describe a change in the air when she stands with Gökberk. One person, who's been around enough sets to know when two actors are just doing their jobs and when something more moves between them, put it simply. When these two share a frame, the temperature rises. Even when the camera cuts, their conversation doesn't. Notes about scenes blend into laughter and low-voiced exchanges that feel like an aftertaste of whatever just played out for the lens. It didn't take long for those who observe everything to sense that something tender was quietly taking form. Then came the rainy rehearsal. It was late in the second month, a day built around motion and tension, the kind of action work that leaves everyone soaked and wired. The plan called for a close contact scene between Gökberk and Alanah, the sort of choreography where the line between control and surrender sits on a thin edge. They went again and again at the director's request, and a natural ease emerged, unforced, palpable. When the director finally called it, the two drifted aside, still trading thoughts about beats and timing while rain thinned to mist. Someone on the crew says Alanah's shirt caught the worst of the weather, and without hesitation, Gökberk shrugged off his jacket and draped it over her shoulders. No one leaked images, but the picture traveled anyway, passed in whispers. If Cemre had known, maybe the puzzle would have solved itself sooner. But she didn't, not then. What she did notice were the silences growing longer. The late messages, the missed calls, the sense that he wasn't tired so much as preoccupied. Each time she tried to tap the question, he slid past it, deflecting with work talk, crunch time, deadlines, fight choreography, and longer nights. She tried to be understanding, she always has been, but there's a point where gut instinct starts to hum. And the moment everything began to look inevitable was just after a sudden trip to Istanbul. Officially, he went to see family. But those close to Cemre say that when he came back, something fundamental had settled in him. He seemed calm in that way people get when they've already made the hardest choice. Not cold. Just certain. Then, one ordinary night in Italy became the night no one could stop replaying. Paparazzi caught a few seconds of something that felt louder than any caption. Gökberk and Alanah, leaving the set side by side, moving like two people lit by the same spark. The camera caught eye contact, smiles that arrived too fast to be rehearsed, the casual brush of her hand on his arm, his head bowing to say something meant only for her. It wasn't much. But it was enough to send the internet into fever. Are they together? Isn't he with Cemre? Is this on-screen heat sliding off the edge of the frame into real life? The team stayed quiet, then released a tidy line about professionalism and work talk. You already know how that landed. What sets Alanah apart, people say, is that she doesn't play the game loudly. She isn't all flirt and flash. She's composed, warm, self-possessed, the kind of presence that doesn't need to elbow its way into a room. Crews swear they saw a shift in Gökberk with her nearby. More grounded. More open. More himself. And that, for anyone who has loved him, is the detail that aches the most. Because the version of him that Cemre had been missing, the lighter one, seemed to show up around someone else. Still, the clearest line was drawn not by a photo, not by a rumor, but by words said quietly in a private room. Those close to Cemre say the conversation that ended it wasn't cruel. It was measured, careful, the kind where someone tries to be honest without setting everything on fire. He said he didn't want to force things. He said being unfair to her would be worse than facing the truth. He said his heart might be elsewhere. He didn't have to say where elsewhere lived. After that, his online presence thinned. Fewer posts, a retreat into the work, a watchful silence that always tells more than it seems to. Meanwhile, clips from Sandokan's set gained a new glow in the eyes of fans who watch every detail. Behind-the-scenes snippets seemed to hum with something unscripted. Comments stacked up claiming that what we were seeing wasn't just craft, it was chemistry reaching through the screen. People insisted Cemre must have felt it long before the rest of us did. If you're waiting for Alanah to break the tension with a statement, you might be waiting a long time. That's not how she moves. She keeps her gaze fixed on the work, her posture neutral, her personal life turned to low volume. No denials, no confirmations, just a steady smile and the kind of professionalism that only stokes the fire. Those who know her say she isn't strategizing. She's letting the current carry whatever it's going to carry. On social media, the reaction split into camps as it always does. Some leap to defend Gökberk, saying he wouldn't cross a line, saying he and Cemre simply grew in different directions. Others swear the connection with Alanah is visible even to the blind. There's a harsher chorus, too, there always is, but even within the noise, a note of awe keeps surfacing for the elegance of the woman at the center of the storm and the way Gökberk seems steadier, softer, more assured in scenes alongside her. Where does that leave us now? The two keep things locked down. No red carpets shoulder to shoulder, no hand-in-hand cafe strolls, no coy captions to inflame the feeds. People on set, though, quietly say the bond is no longer a rumor. They share space like it's a given. Their rhythm is easy, unforced. And whether this lingers as a meaningful chapter between two artists or turns into the headline romance of the year, the sense is that neither of them wants to break it by forcing it into a label too soon. As filming rolls on across Italy and Malaysia, the on-screen depth keeps punching through, and off-camera closeness gathers its own gravity. Some insist these two will shock everyone with a soft launch when shooting wraps. Others say the reveal has already happened in 100 small ways, if you know where to look. But the core of this story feels settled. Why did Gökberk leave Cemre? Because something inside him moved towards someone else, and pretending otherwise became impossible. There's another angle to consider, the human one. Cemre isn't just a name in a caption. She's a person whose private life got pulled into a public carousel she did not ask to ride. Those who've spoken with her say the first days were heavy with disbelief more than anger. She had stood beside him, steady and quiet, the way she always does. And to see the pieces rearranged in a heartbeat was a shock. Yet even in that shock, people close to her talk about her grace. They say she chose dignity over spectacle. She did not lash out online. She did not beg for sympathy. She let time do what time does. And if there's any justice, the future will bring her a joy that isn't shaken by cameras or scripts or rumors shouted into a void. As for Gökberk, the phase after a public breakup is a test of who you are. He's pulling inward, letting the work be the loudest thing in his life again. But anyone paying attention can read the signs. the ease in his posture when Alanah is nearby, the way a rehearsal becomes an afterglow, the private smile that looks like a secret finally admitted. He's not flaunting anything. He's just stopped hiding what isn't meant to be hidden. Maybe that's why this story has gripped so many people. It isn't only the scandal. It's the inevitability. Two people collided in a place designed to fake emotion, and what broke out felt too genuine to keep pressed between takes. You can call it a cliché, on-set chemistry spilling over, but clichés exist because they keep happening. So tell me, what do you see when you look at those seconds of grainy footage? A flicker of something private or a bright flash of a new beginning? Is this the start of a romance that will survive the noise, or a powerful current that exists only inside the bounds of a project? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because your read on their energy says as much about you as it does about them. And if you've been pulled into this as deeply as we have, make sure you hit like, subscribe to Secrets Behind the Stars, and ring that bell so you hear every echo the moment it happens. This chapter might not be over when the credits roll on Sandokan. It might just be the prologue to something lasting, something that doesn't need edits or retakes. Or maybe it will stay exactly where it began, in the hush between cut and action, where two performers found in each other what they hadn't felt in a long time. For now, they are letting the story write itself in real time, and we are left to read between the lines. Remember how this turned: the hush of a rainy rehearsal, a jacket over cold shoulders, a trip to Istanbul that settled a heart, a video that said more than a press release ever could, a gentle goodbye that still landed like a storm. If you wanted a neat ending, you won't find it here. What you'll find is a truth that looks a lot like life, complicated, tender, and impossible to choreograph. And however you feel about it, you can't deny the spark when Gökberk Yildirim and Alanah Blur are in the same frame, nor the quiet strength with which Cemre Arda stepped back when the script changed. That's the kind of story that doesn't just trend. It lingers. Stay with us at Secrets Behind the Stars, because the next beat could drop at any moment, and when it does, you'll want to be here first to hear it.